should be good. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Superintendent, CEO of Clayton County Public Schools, Dr. Morcease J. Beasley's Critical Conversation. Let me know when we're clear. Let me know when we're clear. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Superintendent and CEO of Clayton County Public School, Dr. Morcease J. Beasley, Critical Conversation for the 2022-2023 school year. We're happy to have you joining us this evening. Tonight's meeting, we hope to be engaging, and we will share a lot of topics that's critical to your area of needs and services. And we have our team members here that will also share pertinent information with our public. We'd like to acknowledge that we have interpreting services available. Please refer to the chat features that team members will share so that you can join if you are in need of those particular services. We have our sign language interpreter as well, Mr. Samuel Gonzalez, and we thank you too for joining us this evening. And we want to publicly thank Dr. Normel and team for extending these services for us tonight. Without further delay, I would like to welcome and reintroduce to some our Superintendent and CEO of Clayton County Public Schools, Dr. Morcease J. Beasley. Thank you so much for being here this evening. And before Dr. Beasley speak, if we have any team members present and board members present, our corporate and community and faith-based leaders that's joining us, we welcome you and thank you again for supporting our school system and joining tonight's meeting. Dr. Beasley?
Thank you, Jada. Good evening to everyone. Hopefully everyone had a great day. I know it's 6 p.m. and some of us are probably in the thick of traffic. So let's start out with a moment of reflection. If you could maybe type or share one word that allows you to convey how you're feeling at 6:03 p.m. on October 20th, 2022. One word. Feel free to just add it to the chat box or to the chat function. I see blessed. That's a good word to thankful. Grateful. Good. I thought I'd see the word tired. Tired. Hungry. Ready to. Well, feel free to keep sharing. Jada, as you and your team bring up the presentation, I just want to, of course, welcome everyone to this critical conversation. Thank you, team, for being here on today as we just give our community a space to hear from us and for us to hear from them. Hopefully, it will be a very engaging conversation. We appreciate those who are participating online. And Jada, please confirm if they can pose questions online on the YouTube station or on whatever platforms that they're using to participate in this opportunity.
Yes, sir, and thank you so much for acknowledging that. We are streaming live, as Dr. Beasley indicated, and we will be able to monitor Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Questions, comments, the team will share when we get to that portion of tonight's meeting.
Very good. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll go through the presentation. We have a few topics that we want to discuss with you, from just general updates to district data. You'll hear tonight about our graduation rate data. We'll talk about what we're doing instructionally. Of course, we'll also mention safety and give you a chance for any Q&A if you want to share any questions that we can respond to. We've got the team members here, and everyone's ready to engage with you and to respond to whatever questions or concerns you may have. So again, thank you for participating today, and let's have a great conversation. The first thing I want to share is the district data. And you've seen this hopefully by now. It's been out for some time, but I want you to see in particular that at the end of May, we received, I would say May, June, we received our spring's end of grade and end of course Georgia milestones data. And I want you to just draw your attention, if you will, to the charts in the last column of each chart. So look at the chart with I believe that's yellow, looks goldish maybe, but I believe it's yellow. But look at the green column, proficient and distinguished. Look at the percent for the end of course. For American Lit, about 25%, proficient and distinguished. Algebra 1, 14%, biology, 22%, US history, 19%. If you move along the screen, you'll see for English language arts, how we're doing for the end of grade. Third grade, about 15%, fourth grade, 16%, fifth grade and sixth grade and seventh grade, all are 20%, proficient and distinguished. Eighth grade, 25%. And look at math. Proficient and distinguished, grade 3, 15%, grade 4, 16%, grade 5, 11%, grade 6, 10%, grade 7 and 8, 13 and 14% respectively. Clearly, as you can see, and these proficiency distinguished rates are lower than they were prior to the pandemic. So the pandemic has had an impact on us. Of course, we spent a year in virtual instruction. Students were getting instruction, but not as much content, clearly for obvious reasons. So we've got work to do. So I want you to look at this year's data as our baseline data. All of our schools have been reviewing their data. They know exactly our minimum goals, targets for this year, and we're just hoping and requesting your support as we work to trend back up or trend upward as we trended upward before the pandemic. And so the data, again, for this year will be our new baseline data. As you can see in science, and you should know if you don't, that we only assess science at the elementary and middle school level in grades 5 and 8. You can see the proficiency distinguished rates, 14 and 10% respectively. And social study is only assessed at the K-8 level in the 8th grade, and you can see a proficiency distinguished rate of 17%. We do have a high school physical science end of grade assessment, and you can see that for our 8th graders, it was 24%. And that's why I encourage more of our 8th graders to take high school level courses. They seem to do very well when they take those high school level courses. You may use the QR code to access the data as well, so feel free. And we'll post this presentation after we have completed tonight's event. Well, we're excited to share that our grad rates continue to increase. Most of our schools are well above 80%, moving into the 90% range. And of course, we have 2 that are still at 100%. As a district, we are close to 80%. We're at 79.6%, 4/10 of a point away from 80%, the highest grad rate that we have secured since the graduation rate calculation changed in 2012. So we want to commend all of our schools, and I'll just take a second to share where all of the schools are. You can see it for yourself, but I just feel like saying it. Charles Drew is at 77%, a few points away from 80%, and so we're cheering them on. They're going to get there. Elite Scholars is at 100%. Forest Park, first time since 2011, they are now at 80%. So go ahead, Forest Park. Keep up the great work. Jonesboro High School is at 88.7%, less than 2 points away from 90%. Lovejoy High School, 94.1%, first time in the 90s. So congratulations, Lovejoy High School. Morrow High School, 88.5, less than 2 points away from 90%. And so we know that it's just a matter of time before Morrow High School gets there. Mount Zion, above 90, 92.1%. Go ahead, Mount Zion High School. We're very proud of you. Keep up the great work. Monday's Mill is at 87.4%. Again, just a few points shy of 90%. North Clayton High School at 85.3%. Awesome, just a few points away, hey, from 90%. They'll get there at the rate that they're going. Perry Academy, our alternative school, look at that rate, 46.8%, probably the highest of alternative schools in the metro area in the state. So go ahead, Perry Academy, very proud. And we know the challenges that some of our students who attend Perry Academy, those challenges that they experience, but they continue to demonstrate their resilience and graduate from high school. Riverdale High School, look at that, 89%. Go ahead, Riverdale, 1 point away from 90%. We're so proud of Riverdale High School, and of course, Stillwell Performing School of the Arts at 100%. We're very proud that they continue to maintain that 100% graduation rate. So to all of these schools, congratulations to school leadership, our principals and teachers, our parents and our students, class of 2022. Of course, congratulations in class of 2023. That means you've got a higher bar. You've got to come with it. And so there are many opportunities that are being afforded to you to earn the credits that you need to be successful in your coursework so that you might graduate on time. So again, congratulations. And we hope that our community senses that and sees that our students are clearly getting serious about graduating from high school and exercising, moving on to those post-secondary options, as evidenced in our improving graduation rate. Go back the other way. Thank you, ma'am. There you go. We'll keep moving. I think you went the wrong way.
My computer is trying to freeze.
Okay.
1 second, sir. My apologies.
There we go. All right. So there you go. So this is just another look. And I think the important thing here for all of you to see is the gap between the district's grad rate and the state's grad rate is closing. So at the rate that we're going, it looks like it's just a matter of a year or two for us to overtake the state's grad rate. And I have no doubt that eventually we will overtake the state's grad rate, because our goal is 90% as a district by the year 2026. And so I just applaud our community for the efforts of improving our grad rate. I want you to see also clearly, as more kids are graduating from school, that means they're focused on academics. And so we should have less discipline issues. And so as you can see, this is just some data for the beginning of the year. As you all know, we did a YouTube Live encouraging our parents. Let's, get our young people doing the right thing, focused on instruction, focused on academics, and off of the social media. And I just want you to see how the data is, how the data are faring out. As you can see, there are some weeks better than others. So parents, let's continue to work on ensuring that our students are held accountable. I want you to monitor social media. A lot of the physical confrontations that we are dealing with in our schools, they start on social media. And so please as you have purchased those devices for them, I want you as parents to be responsible for those devices that you purchase and hold those young people accountable. Use those devices to better themselves and not engage in physical confrontations or conflicts with their peers. I do want to share that before I move away from discipline, I was at an event today and I was just amazed at the number one issue that sheriffs from around the state, police jurisdictions from around the state have conveyed to the Emergency Management Agency and the Homeland Security Department here in Georgia. The number one issue is gangs. Gangs. Can you believe that? Gangs. And they may not look the way they looked when back in the 60s or 70s or 80s or 90s. You don't necessarily see colors and hats and bandanas and symbols, etc. But gangs, today they shared several pictures that they found out on social media. And unfortunately, I was kind of disheartened. The pictures that they shared reflected many of our young people. Our young people, when I say our, I don't mean necessarily in Clayton County, but they were young people involved in these gang activities. And then I started doing some research, and I've learned that too many of our young people are involved in gangs. And so parents, all I would say to you is know what your children are doing and know who they are doing it with, and make sure that you are involved. House Bill 1134, if you don't know this, you should. House Bill 1134, legislation that was signed into law, I believe, this year. It gives the Office of the Attorney General concurrent jurisdiction to prosecute criminal gang activity statewide. So the statewide Attorney General can work with the countywide prosecutors and city prosecutors. And when they go after a gang, they're going after more than one person. And I can assure you, the laws are tightening, and those individuals will probably have prosecuted and tried. They could land in jail for many years. So parents, I'm telling you, it's kind of like that next wave. You remember in the 80s and 90s, they were prosecuting and filling our prisons up with individuals with dealing with drugs and crack cocaine, etc. And it appears that the next wave of that will impact our prisons will be those who are in gang activities. I'm told, and the research bears this out, about 49% of all violent crimes are grounded or due to gang activity. 42% of property crimes are due to gang activities. 39% of drug issues are due to gang activities. The point is, parents, you've got to monitor your children, and you've got to develop that relationship with them and know where they are, know who they're hanging out with. And honestly, it depending on their age, they probably don't need to go anywhere without you. I'm encouraging you to don't assume that, oh, my child wouldn't do that, or my child is not engaged in that, or if your child is fighting, that it is not gang related. It could very well be gang related. So parents, do not, I'm encouraging you, from a father, a parent to other parents, do not assume and take for granted that your child is not involved. Talk to them, have conversations with them, seek counseling, and we have tons of resources available in our schools. But honestly, what the data that we're looking at here, it should be at zero. We need to make sure that our children are focused on academics, reading and writing and thinking critically and being creative and doing innovatively, collaborating, solving problems, not physically fighting, not engaged in physical confrontations. So parents, just a word of advice, please spend time talking to your children, monitoring them, their whereabouts, their friends, who they're hanging out with, and what they're doing. Don't find yourself in a situation where your child is caught up in being prosecuted at the state level because of House Bill 1134, as we are seeing occurring, even in some most recent situations in the media involving even some of our rap stars, our rappers, who are being charged, and those who are affiliated with them for various criminal activities. Please, parents, let's do our part. Let's not allow our children to be caught up in this next wave that I think, will result in our prisons being filled again. And House Bill 1134 by law, gives the Attorney General that jurisdiction. And I can assure you, and listen to this, 50% of gang members are Hispanic, 32% are African American, 10% are white, 8% of others. So if they are forcefully prosecuting gang activity, who are the people, young people, that will be going to jail if they are tried and found guilty? They will look like you and I. They will be primarily children, young people of color. Please, parents, you all have got to, don't put your head in the sand and don't assume, do not assume that your child is not involved, especially if your child has been involved in some physical confrontations lately. Get involved, stay involved, dig deep into their lives and figure out what's going on. Thank you. You can go ahead. Our attendance data looking pretty good, and I want to encourage parents. We're monitoring very closely. It's our expectation that students are in school every day. And that means that we're monitoring who has less than 5 days, which is ideal. Less than 5 days absent is ideal. But if you have more than 5 days, we're monitoring that as well. And we'll do home visits as necessary. And we'll work with the juvenile judges as necessary, because we can't be accountable for improving test scores if children are not in school. So I want you to see these rates for attendance as of October 17th, and let's do our best. We need to get as close to 100% as possible. We know that on any given day, kids will be absent, so we know that we won't get to 100%, but if we can get close to 100%, then let's do that. We want our children in school. We believe that the school is the best place for them to be during the school day. And so please, parents, let's continue to work with our schools and ensure that our children are in school on a daily basis. Thank you. Let's talk about some challenges and successes as you saw the data, and whether it was the academic data, the discipline data, which was just a portion of the discipline data, or the attendance data. Clearly, as we're trying to improve our school system, and we are on this journey to becoming a high-performing school system, it's important. It's important that we all understand the data and that we understand what we're doing to address the data. So let's talk for a few minutes about some of the things that we're doing to move our school system forward. Of course, it's all about instruction. It's all about instruction. And parents, you've heard the word rigor, and I don't want to use educational jargon, but the bottom line is we want our kids to think at high levels. We want them to solve problems. We want them to think critically. We want them to read well. We want them to write well. We want them to speak well. We want them to be able to work in groups and teams and collaborate with their peers in order to solve problems. And so parents, what I'm asking you to do, let's make sure that our children are reading nightly, a minimum of 30 minutes nightly. Anything that's important enough for us to do in school, it's important enough for you to do at home. Reading is important. It has to be done not just at school, but it has to be done at home. And so we want all of our children to read. As you saw in the data, we've got work to do. But the only way you improve reading is you got to practice. Anything that you want to get good at, if you want to get good at kicking the ball, if you want to get good at basketball or baseball, whatever you want to get good at, you got to practice. And so there is absolutely no excuse why our children should not be practicing reading in every household every day for a minimum of 30 minutes a day. We have libraries with books, whether it's the school library or the public libraries. We have e-resources that all of our students have access to that have Chromebooks. There's absolutely no reason. We have got to ensure that our students are reading on a daily basis. Please take advantage of the resources. We want you to spend time talking with your children, developing that background knowledge. We want you to find places for them to go that will allow you to develop their curiosity engage them in relevant discussions. We want you to help us to build their vocabulary. Listen, I encourage you, get some flashcards, and even for your small children, and write the words on your refrigerator, your stove, your different things around the house, and get children talking and saying words and building vocabulary and reading. Find creative ways to do that. As you're looking at sitcoms, you hear words. Ask your children, what does that word mean? Yeah, it sounded funny, but what does it mean? Spend time engaging in conversations, developing those literacy skills. It's so important. We want to ensure that our students are reading a diverse amount of text. Some students love to read comic strips. That's great. They can read comic or athletics. That's great. Read those magazines, but also find some articles to read, and some news articles and some journal articles. We want them to read a diversity of texts. We want students to really build upon those skills that they learned in the early grade levels, and don't allow those skills to get rusty. We want students to make sure that they're practicing. And so you'll hear me say it, and I make no apologies for it. Students ought to be doing homework on a daily basis. They ought to do an extension of some activity that extends learning, that reinforces learning. I don't know of a person who earned a college degree in this country who didn't do homework beyond class time. So I'm encouraging all of us, and if we're preparing our kids to be college ready and post-secondary ready, then they should be doing homework. I'm not saying they need to do 10 hours of homework every night. That's not the point. The point is they need to be practicing reading and developing those necessary skills and their thinking skills. And the way to do that is through practice, problem solving. And so please, parents, please, we need your help to ensure that we create an academic culture, a high-performing culture. Kids ought to be reading books. They ought to be checking books out the library. Ask your child, what books have they read this week? Or what book are they reading? Or what books are they reading? What magazines are they reading? We want our kids to be reading, taking advantage of tutorials. We have access to tutor.com, 24/7 tutoring. We can provide all the resources, but if they're not taking advantage of the resources, how are they going to improve their academics? So parents, we need your help. We need your help. We're working on even some small group and intensive tutoring that we know the research says that kids learn in small groups, one-on-one instruction, no more than 2 or 3 in a group, focus on specific content. So we're working, and schools are working on their remediation programs, their tutorials, but we can offer many things. But if the students are not there and they're not taking advantage of these opportunities, parents, we need your help. Please, please. We want to improve our outcomes here in Clayton County. There's no reason why we can't. No reason why we can't, and no reason why we shouldn't. Thank you. Few safety updates. And safety is important. Let me say that to all of you. Safety is important. Why? Because you can't really learn if you don't feel safe. And so we spend a lot of time focused on safety so our students can learn. And so when they come to school, whether they're getting on a school bus, getting off a school bus, walking on the campus, we want them to be safe so they can feel good about themselves, their schools, their experience, so that they can learn at high levels. But we're seeing a decrease. And we'll let you know when we see an increase. And we're going to be that transparent because we need your help. We cannot do it. No, the schools cannot do it all. Parents, just like you had the children, we need your help to help us to address the children. Yes, we can address certain things at school, but you know very well as parents, they don't do everything at school. Some of the things that we deal with at school start well before they get to school. So let's do our part, and let's make sure that our students are behaving themselves. We implemented clear book bags. Thank you all for your cooperation. I know some of you didn't like it, but that's not the point. The point is we're trying to create a safe school. And it's a minor inconvenience, a minor expectation to create safe schools. Make sure you read the student code of conduct. You have it electronically and you have a hard copy. If you need a hard copy, just let the school know. We have tons of them, tons of hard copy. We're implementing positive behavior and intervention and support, PBIS, in all of our schools. Some schools are doing very well. Some schools are just getting started, but every school is implementing PBIS. We're doing random safe school searches. Yes, random searches. So don't be surprised when your child says, I was randomly searched today and someone wanted me to make sure I didn't have a weapon. Yes, that's what we have to do. Just like when you go through the airport, before you get on that plane, you have to basically allow them to search you. Well, we're doing the same thing. Why? Because unfortunately, we live in a society that has a proliferation of guns and weapons, and people are not always with a good intention as they carry those weapons. And so we've just got to be prepared, and we need your cooperation and your understanding as we're trying to ensure that we do our part to prevent mass shootings from occurring in our schools. It can happen anywhere. What we've seen in Texas recently, it can happen anywhere. You've seen it in Florida, you've seen it in Connecticut, you've seen it in many places. It can happen anywhere. We're just trying to do our part to minimize the risk here in Clayton County. We're, of course, monitoring our surveillance system. We're assessing to make sure our cameras are working. And that's just ongoing work because, as you well know, as things get older, they start malfunctioning. So we have to replace those things. We have a juvenile justice partnership, and we're working with the juvenile justices. And they're asking us to have these conversations with you because, frankly, they're tired of our young people standing before them, and they're having to place them in juvenile justice and juvenile delinquency. They're having to sometimes require them to do certain things, have probation officers, etc. Parents, we've got to make sure that we're doing our part to minimize our young people from having to deal with the criminal justice system. Because once they get involved in that system, that's a very, very difficult system to separate oneself from. We want to remind everyone that we do have the See Something, Say Something app on that they can use on the district's app. Take advantage of that. We have the gaggle that we're using to identify if there are issues relative to suicide, etc., physical confrontations, but we also have many, many mental wellness resources available in our schools. We have crisis referral programs. And I want to say, if you don't know where to go, talk to your counselor, talk to a teacher, and I can assure you they will direct you where to go. We're working on social emotional learning, restorative practices, you name it. Peer mediation here in Clayton County, you name it. We're working on it. But it takes all of us to work on that. And of course, we have body scanners now. And we're very pleased that we are seeing a decrease in the number of weapons now, decrease in the number of fights. We're seeing a decrease, which is good. Let's keep decreasing. It would be great to get to a point, a week, a month, a year where we have zero. Until that happens, we've got work to do. But we need your help. We need your support, parents. We need you working with your teachers, working with your principals. And we know sometimes there's a little friction, if you will, between students and teachers and principals and superintendents. We understand all of that. But at the end of the day, you've got to know and trust that we care. Our principals care, our teachers care, our central office, your superintendent, central office administrators, we all care. We want the very best for our children. And so all we're asking is that you work with us so we can ensure that they have the very best experience and that they navigate their youth, their adolescence in a successful manner so they can become productive, educated adults who are able to take care of themselves. Well, I want you to know that this is a slide, this is a handout that we'll send to you. You may have received it recently. It has the vision, the mission, the goals, our beliefs, schools, some data about the district grad rates. We update it on an annual basis and more than one time throughout the year if necessary. Please take advantage of this district overview, learn about what we're doing as a district, and share the good news about what we're doing. Our children need to hear the good about their community, the good about their school system. They are in a school system that is actually making tremendous progress. And it's because of their efforts. It's because of the efforts and support of our parents and the work of our schools. So please take advantage of these tools that we're providing, this information that we're providing, and share the good work that's occurring in the schools. And according to the PDK, Phi Delta Kappa Kappan survey, I believe it's Phi Delta Kappan or Kappa survey, most parents are very pleased with their local schools. People complain about schools and you ask, well, what is the problem? It's very rare that they can tell you what the specific problem is. Most people are very pleased. I will say to you, be careful what you hear in the news. Be careful, because there's sometimes one child, one incident is not a reflection of everyone. It's not a reflection of the entire school. That's one incident. And remember this, there are always two sides to every story. Sometimes parents will, well, I'm going to the media. I'm going to say this and I'm going to say that because this happened to my child. Yeah, you better, before you do that, you better get both sides. Because I can assure you, there are often two sides to every story, two sides to every story. And I know Johnny sounds like is an angel at home, but I can assure you sometimes Johnny ain't an angel at the schoolhouse. So, and if you're not with Johnny 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, then you better leave room to find out truth about our little Johnnies. And so I encourage all of you to work with your schools, share the information, and don't take one incident and colorize the whole district, the whole school as being deplorable or violent. No, it's not every child, it's not every school, it's not the entire school. That's one situation. And schools are working diligently to improve every school. And we have data to reflect that they are improving in every category, in every area. All right, well, let's see. Do we have any questions today? Any questions? I'd like to entertain your questions. This is your opportunity. We know that everything's not well, but we know it's not all bad either. And so feel free to share any good, but share your concerns as well, because I can assure you this team is committed. Our principals, our teachers, we are all committed to addressing those concerns and making our school system better, every school better. We know that we have room to make it better, but we also know that we're not all bad, that the schools are often the safest place for our children to be, and that they're learning the most often at school. And we know that they're eating breakfast, they're eating lunch, they're behaving. For the most part, they're learning. They're getting a healthy socialization experience at our schools. And we know that there are always opportunities to improve, and we're committed to improving as we need to.
So Dr. Beasley, as you mentioned, we're pausing at this time to allow any members of the general public to submit any questions or comments or concerns that they may have via our Facebook feature and our YouTube Live portion. Mr. Ronald Jones Shields and Peter Poole are monitoring those platforms, and they will unmute and let us know if we get any questions or comments at this time. We do have up to 90 viewers this evening, so we are grateful for those that are chiming in. So we should hope to have some questions or comments fairly soon here.
Very good. I just want to make a note while you're pulling the questions together. Dr. Lee shared, and Dr. Lee is our Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum Instruction and Assessment. After school remediation begins for grades 2 through 8 in 2 weeks. So after school remediation, and parents will provide transportation as well. So please, if your child needs to be in remediation, please make sure that they are there. Again, we can't do it by ourselves. It takes all of us. And honestly, there are children, many of our children, they need more than what we can do during the school day. So after school remediation is another effort to provide them the instructional support that they need in order to achieve and hopefully get to that grade level performance, or above grade level performance, which we prefer as well.
Thank you, Jada. Thank you, Dr. Beasley. At present, we have one question.
Okay.
Will the district consider offering summer school?
We offer summer school every summer. We have offered it through STEM and STEAM programs. Next year, we'll do the same, but we're going to make sure we build in remediation into every summer program. So the answer to your question is yes. And it may be the case that kids are in summer school all day during next summer. So we need your support. We need your support. But remember this, parents, summer school is offered, but I think we'll probably have no more than 10% of our young people in summer school. If you want the experience, we need you to sign up for the experience. We'll pick these children up and we'll drop them off. We'll feed them breakfast and lunch. But parents, we need you to sign the children up, and we need you to support them and ensure that they are there every day, every day. So yes, we will have summer school. I want to, Dr. Nunez, our Deputy Superintendent for Student Support Services, she said, reminded us to please come out to our 5K. It will be at the International Park, where they have the wonderful new swimming water park area. Come out to the 5K on this Saturday at 9 a.m. This Saturday, 5K, as we are bringing awareness to mental wellness, student discipline, suicide prevention, you name it. We're bringing awareness, and we want our community and every school to be represented. So parents, please come out and join us at the 5K at the International Park, starting at 9 o'clock. And I think I got the time right.
That is correct.
Sorry, that is all the questions that we have received.
Well, so if I don't have that many questions, that means we must be doing something right here in Clayton County. And so parents, just know this, you don't have to wait to these forums to ask questions. We're available, and you know this team is very responsive to your emails, to your telephone calls, because we value our community. We work for this community, and we want to make sure that our community gets the very, very, very best. And honestly, I don't think you'll find a better set of 7,500 employees other than the ones that you have here in Clayton County Public Schools, who are all committed to ensuring that our children have the very best educational experience. Please feel free, if you have ideas or thoughts about what you'd like to hear at the next critical conversation, just send an email or communication to our communications department. You can send it to me. I'll forward it over to them, and we'll do our best to ensure that we're responsive to whatever topics you feel like you believe that you would like us to discuss. I want to encourage all of you to get involved. As I close, just a few reminders. Read nightly, 30 minutes every night. Make sure we're doing homework. We want to encourage our middle school parents. Make sure your 8th graders are taking high school credit courses. 9th graders are taking advanced placement, dual enrollment in high school, grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. Remember, if you're going to college, that looks good on your transcript. And we want to get to a point in Clayton County where we graduate a senior class where in 100% of them, if not 100%, close to it, have successfully completed advanced placement and or dual enrollment. Don't forget, career pathways are very important. We have CTAE pathways, career technology pathways, fine art pathways, world language pathways, and advanced academic pathways. We know that when our students complete a pathway, they graduate with a rate of 94 to 98%. So parents, ensure that your children are completing pathways. See your counselors. They can share with you all the pathways that are available in our schools and our school system. We want you to take full advantage of these resources. Let's continue to move towards high performance. Continue to work with your principals, continue to work with your teachers, continue to attend our board meetings, our Board of Education. They are very transparent in the business, very efficient in the business. I can assure you that the meetings are held in a manner that are not too long, but they are engaging and they are informative. Our goal is, and you'll see that we only bring items for the board to review and approve that are in the best interest of our children. And so when we bring an item, we just expect support from the board because it's always in the best interest of our children. We never bring an item as a team. We never bring an item that is not good for our children, because that's not who we are and that's not what we would do. We always bring things that are good for our children and that are necessary for our children to do very well. So I encourage you to stay engaged, stay connected, stay plugged in. throughout this semester and throughout the rest of the year. Thank you for participating in this critical conversation. I hope it was helpful. We appreciate your feedback. Ronald, I believe you've given them a QR code that they can share feedback. You want to share how they might share the feedback using the QR code?
Yes, sir. The QR code that was shown on your screen and that will be returned to your screen. If you scan that QR code, it will take you directly to a drafted email that will go that email platform, and we will make sure it gets to the appropriate party to address.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, as we close out, I just want to make sure any other pressing announcements, the team members that are here, I don't, if you have any, we'll let you share, but I think we're good. We've shared what needed to be shared today. I want to encourage all of you to stay connected, continue to work closely with your schools, and let's have a great school year, great semester. I look forward to engaging with you in various opportunities or events. And again, remember, we are moving towards high performance. And so let's continue to all do our part as we move towards higher levels of performance. Have a great evening, a great night, get some rest. Make sure those young people are doing their homework, reading at least minimally, at least 30 minutes. And of course, getting to bed early. They need to get to bed in a timely manner so they can wake up in a timely manner and so that they can be at school